We added Charles's email to James Henry's Too Naive to check the fine print. Let's bleed him dry. The words burned, but they fueled me. We're crashing their Christmas dinner, I told Rosa, my voice steady as steel. 15 guests, Spokane's high society. They'll see who the Harpers really are. Outside, the December wind howled, rattling the windows I couldn't afford to fix. I thought of Elena, her warm smile, her belief that family was worth any sacrifice. Sophia had mocked her memory, calling her a maid who got lucky in a text to Evelyn. My jaw clenched. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about dignity, about reclaiming the man I'd been before they turned me into their ATM. Rosa grinned, her eyes glinting. Henry, when we're done, they won't have a social circle left to scam. I poured us both coffee, the steam curling like a promise. Christmas was 6 days away, and I was ready to deliver a gift they'd never forget. Part 5. The Confrontation. The Harpers' empire crumbles. The Kendall Yards mansion glowed like a Christmas card, its windows spilling warm light onto the snow-dusted street. Inside, Sophia played the perfect hostess, her laughter tinkling over the clink of wine glasses as Spokane's elite gathered around a dining table set with crystal and linen, every piece paid for with my money. I stood outside, my breath fogging in the December chill briefcase, heavy with 15 packets of evidence. 7 years of betrayal, $268,800 in mortgage payments, a $50,000 down payment, a $100,000 forged loan that could have cost me my home culminated in this moment. Tonight their house of lies would burn. I pushed open the unlocked front door, the scent of roasted turkey and Sophia's signature lavender candles hitting me like a memory of better days. The dining room buzzed with conversation. Spokane's high society bankers, charity heads, a city council member, oblivious to the storm about to break. I stepped in, briefcase in hand, and 15 faces turned, their expressions shifting from surprise to unease. Sophia froze her wine glass, trembling. Henry, this is outrageous. She snapped, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. You need to leave. Now. Ethan's face drained of color, his eyes darting to the floor. Actually, I said, my voice calm, as I set the briefcase on their marble sideboard, I think your guests deserve to know who's been funding this little fantasy. I opened the case, pulling out the first packet: bank statements, forged loan documents, screenshots of Sophia's Instagram flaunting my money. 7 years, $268,800 in mortgage payments, $50,000 for your down payment, $20,000 for that kitchen you barely use. I moved around the table, placing a packet before each guest. And this, I held up the loan agreement with my forged signature, is a $100,000 debt Sophia pinned on me, risking my home. The room went silent, the rustle of papers deafening as guests scanned the evidence. A woman in pearls gasped, "Is this true, Sophia?" Before Sophia could respond, I dropped the next bomb. Their charity gala, a scam. They siphoned donations into an offshore account using my name to cover their tracks. I played Rosa's recording, Charles's voice crackling. Henry's too naive to check the fine print. Let's bleed him dry. The council member's jaw tightened. This is fraud, he said, glaring at Charles. Then James Whitaker stood, his lawyer's smirk faltering but still defiant. You're delusional, Morales. Keep this up and you'll regret it. I've got people who can make you disappear. The threat hung heavy, a violation of every American value of justice and decency. Gasps rippled through the room. The charity head, a gray-haired man, stood. Whitaker, I know you. You're tied to Charles's bank. Is this true? James's face paled, his bravado crumbling. Sophia tried to salvage it. He's lying. Henry volunteered the money. We never asked. But Ethan broke his voice, barely a whisper. It's true. I let Sophia and her parents control me. Dad, I didn't know about the loan. His admission cracked the room's facade. Charles blustered. This is slander. But the guests' faces, discussed betrayal, told a different story. I placed the final piece on the table, the Spokane Review article planted by Charles and James, painting me as a deranged old man who abandoned helpless elders. 52 degrees and sunny, I said, tapping the lie about the storm. They banned me from Christmas because my Mexican heritage embarrassed them. The charity head stood clutching the packet. Charles, Sophia, this is unconscionable. You exploited this man, then tried to ruin him. Sophia's composure, shattered tears smearing her mascara. It's not what it looks like. She screamed, but the room had turned. I straightened my tie, the weight of years lifting. Enjoy your dinner, I said, my voice cutting through their chaos. It's the last one I'll pay for. As I walked out, the eruption of accusations behind me was sweeter than any Christmas carol. Part 6, Justice Served, the Harpers' Complete Collapse. The Spokane morning broke crisp and clear sunlight streaming through my newly repaired kitchen windows, the ones I'd fixed with the first mortgage-free paycheck in 7 years. The coffee in my mug tasted richer, not just because it was Colombian, but because it came with freedom no more. $3, $200 monthly transfers bleeding me dry. 3 days after the Christmas Eve showdown, Rosa's article hit the front page of the Spokane Review Local Elite Exposed in Charity Fraud Scandal. The headline screamed louder than Sophia's fake tears, detailing the Harpers' fake gala, the offshore accounts, and the $100,000 loan they'd forged in my name. My phone buzzed with notifications. Friends, neighbors, even strangers calling me a hero. But the real victory was watching the Harpers' empire crumble. Rosa's investigation, backed by our evidence, had sparked a firestorm. The FBI raided James Whitaker's office, seizing records that tied him to the offshore transfers and years of bank fraud. He was indicted within a week, his smug lawyer's grin wiped clean as he faced federal charges of betrayal of the American trust in justice that made Spokane's blood boil. Charles lost his treasurer's seat at the Inland Northwest Business Leaders Association, his country club membership revoked after members read Rosa's expose. Evelyn's Instagram, once a shrine to her blessed life, went silent, her charity friends unfollowing her like rats fleeing a sinking ship. Sophia and Ethan's mansion, my $268 $800 investment, hit the foreclosure list. 3 missed payments, $9 $600 in arrears, caught up like a tsunami, no longer cushioned by my generosity. Sophia faced a civil lawsuit from the charity's donors, her name now synonymous with fraud in Spokane's social circles. She left a hysterical voicemail begging me to fix this, but I blocked her number, her voice fading into the void of her own making. Ethan showed up at my door a week later, his tailored suit, wrinkled dark circles under his eyes like bruises from a fight he'd already lost. Dad seepage into my house like a ghost. I didn't know how deep it went. Sophia, her parents, James, they used me too. I leaned back in my new recliner, the one I'd bought with money that no longer funded their lies. You let them, Ethan. I said, my voice steady, but not cruel. You chose their approval over your own father. His face crumpled. The house is gone. Sophia's leaving me. I've got nothing. He paused, then whispered, I should have stood up for you. I nodded, thinking of Elena, her memory tarnished by Sophia's cruel words. You should have, I said. But you're a grown man now. Fix your own mess. He left shoulders hunched, carrying the weight of his choices. I walked to my fireplace, where Elena's photo smiled from the mantel, now joined by a picture of me with Rosa's family at Easter, the first holiday in years, with people who wanted me there. Outside, Spokane's Christmas lights glowed no longer, mocking me, but celebrating my rebirth. I'd traded their fake family for real ones, their greed for my dignity. The Harper's fall wasn't just justice, it was a middle finger to every American who'd ever been exploited by those who thought they were above the rules. Part 7. The Legacy, Henry's Triumph. Spring arrived in Spokane like a promise, kept the trees budding with new life, the air warm with possibility. I stood on my back porch, a glass of good whiskey in hand, the bottle I'd saved for a moment worth celebrating. At 63, I was no longer the man who'd eaten peanut butter sandwiches to fund Ethan and Sophia's lies. My house. Elena's house gleamed with fresh paint, new windows, and a repaired driveway, all paid for with the money I'd reclaimed from 7 years of betrayal. The $260 $800 in mortgage payments, the $50,000 down payment, the $100,000 forged loan. They were ghosts of a past I'd buried. Now I was building something new. Rosa's article had done more than topple the Harpers. It sparked a movement. Spokane's community rallied outraged by the fraud, the racism, the sheer audacity of Charles Evelyn Sophia and James Whitaker. James's indictment made national news, his offshore accounts exposed as part of a broader bank scandal, a betrayal of American values that left viewers shaking their heads. Charles and Evelyn fled to Portland, their social standing reduced to ash, their "You Blessed Life" hashtag a bitter joke. Sophia slapped with a $200,000 lawsuit from defrauded donors, sold her designer handbags to cover legal fees. Ethan, humbled, took a job at a hardware store learning what it meant to live within his means. He called once, leaving a voicemail, "Dad, I'm trying to be better." I didn't call back. Not yet. I had bigger plans. With the money I'd saved, I founded the Elena Morales Scholarship Fund, a real charity for Spokane's Mexican-American kids to attend college. At the launch event, I stood before a crowd of families, their faces bright with hope, and announced $50,000 in initial funding, every cent I'd once poured into Sophia's greed. The local news covered it, calling me Spokane's unsung hero, a far cry from the deranged old man Charles and James had painted me as. Each scholarship was a brick in a legacy that honored Elena's love, her belief in second chances, her pride in our heritage. My phone buzzed as I sipped my whiskey, a text from Rosa dinner Sunday. "The kids want to show you their science fair projects." I smiled, typing back, "Wouldn't miss it." Real family wasn't about blood or obligation. It was about people who saw you, who valued you, who didn't demand your soul as collateral. I looked out at Spokane's skyline, the city lights twinkling like stars. I